So, who is Sir Havoc? What does he do? Who is he? Like, is
I've
he
gotcha. I
obviously he's a
understand.
family man and that sort of thing? And what inspires him? Who is he? Where did he come from?
Okay. So Havoc is a gamer. In actual fact, I'll tell you something that what says it best is my signature on the World of Tanks forums. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Um, what it says is, I'll just find one of my posts. It says Pied Piper of Noobs, Tomato Sympathizer, Community Leader, YouTuber, Live Streamer, Dad. And I suppose that's kind of what I am. I'm a gamer that is passionate about helping people and building communities and things that are worthwhile. Gaming, used to at one point be my release and what I did do to de-stress. And I think that after having a long period of gaming with EVE Online, where I had to give it up because I spent too much time on it, now I've got this need to feel like if I'm gaming, I've got to be doing something good, something that contributes towards the community as a whole and for my own soul, And it started off with obviously World of Tanks. I wasn't actually called Sir Havoc, surprisingly enough. I used to be called Lieutenant Me or LT_ME.
Oh,
Um, so I picked Sir Havoc when I started doing YouTube because I realised that LT_ME doesn't mean anything to anyone. Um, the name comes from an old clan that I used to be part of called the Me Clan, which either stands for Mad Englishman or Military Expedition, depending on which one of us you talk to. And it was an old Blitzkrieg clan. We used to play Blitzkrieg and Company of Heroes together, and we were just all friends in the town that I come from, Deal. Maybe there was about 7 or 8 of us, and you can still see people in the game now with the Me Clan tag. Even in World of Tanks, there's a Captain Me who plays for Bad. Obviously, RSM Me, who I believe plays for Reddit now. So yeah, I was Lieutenant Me, and I decided that when I started YouTube, I wanted to help people by building these tutorials, and I realised I needed a bit of a better name. So Sir Havoc was a name that I used to have in a game I played called I think it's called Medieval Knights of the Kingdom or something like that because it was a chivalry thing. So I just thought, Sir Havoc. So I had that name on there, and I just thought, maybe I would just use it in World of Tanks. So this is an interesting twist to the beginning of this interview. Is you all know me as Sir Havoc, and for as long as I can remember, that was actually never my name in gaming. It was always Lieutenant Me. But I am Sir Havoc now, and I'm very comfortable with that name and that identity, and how I've sprung board off from the start of that.
and I think that works well, and everybody knows you of Sir Havoc. It's a name that's well known throughout the community, not just the Havoc X gaming community, but the actual World of Tanks community. Now that you're a community contributor as well, you're a well-known, well, you're a personality within the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think what I'm best known for is just being like the guy you'll talk to at the pub. My videos aren't the most professionally edited, rounded, best narrated, well, videos. That's for a reason because I don't do it. I won't edit every single mistake out, and I don't script my work. I literally just record and I speak. And yeah, it does come across, and some people might think that as a negative thing, but a lot of people get from it a level of sincerity because it's like your mate talking to you. You're having a cup of tea. You're talking to your mate about World of Tanks. He's talking to you about this game that's playing, and that's what I'm going for. What I'm going for is just a bog standard nice fellow, which is what I am, trying to help some people that are struggling with the game how to get better.
And that's one thing I've always said. Even interviewing new clan members, you'll see Sir Havoc flying around, and he is just another one of the lads. You'll be able to speak to him, and that's one thing I personally get from your tutorials and your videos is that, and when I'm watching it, I think you're actually talking to me. You're not instructing as a generalization. You're talking as if you were talking to me and you sat next to me and you're having a chat about it. And I think that really works well and comes across very well. It's not patronizing, it's not demeaning, and it's pure fact at the end of the day. And I think that's why they work really well.
Yeah, I mean, what I do with World of Tanks or any game, what I realised, so I was a red player, right, Salty, and I played a lot of light tanks. Like, so at 5k games, I was a red player, and I realised I sucked. I didn't know what scores were. I realised I come across my score on NoobMeter, and I thought, Jesus, you suck. So I thought, right, how are you going to get better, Pete? You know, how are you going to improve your game? Okay, so I watched a lot of Quickie Baby. I watched a lot of Circumflex, and I dissected a lot of what they were saying. I also owe a lot of my light tank stuff to a guy called Tazlon. He's not about no more, but he was a great light tanks player. And so that's what I did, and I designed a game for myself. I plucked out what I think would be the best ways, the things I could improve on the quickest to become a better player. And within a few months, I was playing at purple level on a regular basis with an over 60% win rate. So what I learned from that is quite simple. Everyone's a Unicum. We all play Unicum games. But the only difference is Unicums play them more often than the bad players. So a lot of what you play is discipline, and what I teach from A to Z is the basics done well. And what I say is this: if you listen to the basics, if you understand what they are and the subtleties of the game, as long as you're disciplined in doing that, you will play regularly at a blue to purple level. And if you aim for blue to purple and you're a red player and you get to green, hey, that's still a level that most people are happy with, you know.
Absolutely, and I think that's the best way of describing anything. It's when I'm speaking to new and up and coming field commanders, all I'll say to them is, if you come up with a tactic, make sure it's simple, because in its easiest form, the simple tactic will win. Don't overcomplicate it. If you say do something, just go and do it, and the guys around you will react to it and play with it. And I think you can do that as an individual, in a platoon, or in an actual clan itself. It goes right the way from the bottom to the top.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
So what inspired you into gaming then?
Right, well, me and gaming go back a long way, my friend. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. So I'm going right into the background here, yeah? So I'm the youngest of 5 kids, never had much money growing up. And in actual fact, we were positively skinned. But I was raised and in a family home that's been in my family for 5 generations. And my mum bought it off of her uncle, who's my great uncle, who is a fantastic guy. Unfortunately, he's passed on now, but he was my hero, and he could make, do, and mend anything. And he managed to get his hands on an old Sinclair Spectrum Plus 2, all them years ago. And I think there was 1 or 2 bits wrong with it, maybe a key missing, this, that, and the other. And he fixed it up. You know, we had this Plus 2, and my nan had a Z8K Spectrum, and we used to just play things like Treasure Island, Dizzy, and you know, Space Raider and things like that. So that it all started like with a game of Space Raider, where literally you just press the arrows on the space bar, like when I was a tiny kid. And it went on from there, from the Spectrum Plus 2. We got the next thing. I think the next thing we had after that was a Mega Drive. In actual fact, we played the Spectrum Plus 2. Then we had the Mega Drive. That was a really big one because we never really got stuff like that. And I was wanting a Nintendo at the time, and the Mega Drive would just come out. It was really, really good. And my parents really saved up, dug deep, and bought it for me and my brother as a joint present. So we had this Mega Drive, and that was great. And we were playing games like EA Sports, John Madden's American Football, the ice hockey one, this, that, and the other. And then you can imagine the journey. Then from there, it got on to I think after the Mega Drive, it must have been a PlayStation 2. And I was always then doing like consoles. And I'll tell you what got me onto, interestingly enough, to round the story off, what got me onto PC gaming was the fact that at the time, when I was in my teens, I was doing my bricklaying apprenticeship. And there's a guy that built computers up the road. And I wanted to get into a bit of PC gaming, and he needed a wall. So he said, look, I'll build you a monster gaming PC if you build my wall for me. And so we done a deal, and I built the wall, got my PC, and he was the leader of the Me Clan that I told you about earlier, General Me. And I'm still mates with him to this day. I go up his house having a cup of tea. So, yeah, and you know, he's quite a bit older than me. He's like in his mid to late 50s, and we've done a load of gaming, and that's where it all was born, you know. Yeah, so that's how I got into gaming. Started off with a Z8, a Spectrum Plus 2 that my great uncle fixed, playing Space Raider. Went on to PC gaming, building a brick wall for someone, getting my first PC, and started playing Blitzkrieg.
Awesome. So from there, obviously PC gaming, how did you get into World of Tanks then?
Right, how I got into World of Tanks. I'm going to give you the long description, right? Because this is what I do. I was an EVE Online player, played for about 7 years, played too much. My lovely lady, she's not the type that gets on at me. She's, you know, if I'm playing computer games, she's quite happy for me to play computer games as long as I'm not at the pub, you know, spending all our money, getting drunk, you know. And I played EVE Online, and like people that know EVE Online, it's a very addictive game. And I just played it too much, you know. Needless to say, I got too much into it. So a lot of the people I was playing with were starting to get fed up with the game and going into World of Tanks. So a couple of friends of mine, one's called Tavichevsky, one's called Humongous, two Romanian guys, really, really lovely blokes. They started playing World of Tanks. They left the EVE Online. I carried on playing for a bit. Eventually I left, and then I thought, I might go and play World of Tanks. So I joined the game just as they were leaving the game. They had kind of had enough of it by then. I think one of them had an account ban for something. So I got to play in World of Tanks because they went there, but unluckily for me, as I started playing, they left the game. So I started playing the game, and that was it. So I come over from EVE Online, and I just thought, well, all I could just do with a free-to-play game. You know, that would be nice. Loved the looks at Tier 3 it was back then. Fell in love with light tanks, and then just didn't look back since.
Wow. So that, obviously you explained a little bit earlier about being a red player to start with, and going on about how can I make the game better, and then how can I make other people enjoy the game a bit more. So how did the World of Tanks University come about, and how was it formed?
Okay, so I've said this story a number of times, but this is how it all goes down, right? With me, I've got this need to help people. I'm a natural problem solver, and the flaw in my character is if someone comes to me and tells me about one of their problems, they might just be needing to vent, but I naturally will try and solve it for them if they want me to or not, and it does frustrate some of my friends sometimes. So when you go into game and there's everyone moaning and whining about this, moaning and whining about that, people playing really bad, naturally there's this urge to try and fix it. So what happened? So that I've always had that urge to try and help them people, but I never did nothing about it. And then I was triggered because I was playing Lakeville Encounter, and 3 games on the trot they went down the Valley of Death, or Noob Valley. And as a result, obviously, as you know, on Encounter, even if you win the Valley, that you haven't got time to get decapped from the city, from the town. So the third time was enough. I burst the blood vessel, and I thought, right, I've got to do something about this. And it was just prior to me going on holiday to Kefalonia with a good friend of mine, and our families. And so on the way over there, I'll tell you a funny story. This part of it, I brought a notebook, a pen, and I brought a book that says "Talk Like TED," which is basically like TED Talks, how to do talks and things like that. And whilst I was on holiday, I sat down, and I've still got the book now, and I designed a load of tutorials that I want to teach to help people learn the game. And I used the format from the TED Talks to maybe teach me about how to speak to people and how to engage with people. I don't believe I follow that. I think I've lost, forgot because I just read the book once, that forgot the knowledge of what it taught. But ultimately, that's what it was. So over a 2-week holiday away, I came back and I started making YouTube videos. And What University started just as a series on YouTube. Now, what happened is obviously very quickly Wargaming saw these. A community contributor at the time was called Grimbrew, very nice guy. He said, look, I see potential in your work. Do you mind if I give you some tips? So he gave me some tips, said, get a better mic, do this, do that. And he really, really kind of handheld me a little bit and give me some lovely pointers. And next thing I know, I had myself 20, 30, 40 subscribers, and they started saying, are you going to make a clan? So I thought, well, why not? I'll make a clan then, and I made the clan, and that gave me, close-up access and enabled me to do training sessions with them guys. And I thought, well, I may as well video the training session. So I did that with some team games. And then the next thing we had 1 clan, 2 clan, 3 clan, and now we're like a couple of years later, 12 clans in? And we don't actively recruit now. We just let people trickle in. And that's how it was born. That's it. It's a wonderful thing.
It is. It's absolutely an amazing community. With the size of it now, it's enormous. And I've said it's not just a community. It's like a big like a big family, which leads me on to the next question, which is, I know you personally are a big family man, and is this something you've actively bred into the community, or does it just happen naturally?
No, absolutely. Straight away, when I built a clan, because it's a community now, but it started as a clan, I knew that we didn't want no elitism whatsoever, and I wanted a family vibe. The only way you get that is by having zero tolerance on idiots. So what I did is I promoted the worst player in the clan to the commander. Like, I picked the worst player there could be as the commander, because he's an acting commander, right? Really, it's my clan, you know. So, but what that does is it sends a message. So everyone had kind of had to be polite. So the rules were, you know, always be polite, always treat each other with respect, and always be on team speak. And how I bred that family atmosphere, because I mean, let's face it, right? You spend more time with people in clans. You do your own family half the time, if we're being honest. You do.
You do.
And the ethics and principles I want to install were that of, if you're going to trade your time with these people for genuine time with your family members and your friends, then it's got to be a quality experience. You know, it's got to be a worthwhile, enjoyable experience. I've been in many a clan before where I've gone away just with sour taste in my mouth because I've been spoken to like I've been like some sort of imbecile by some 17-year-old that's, you know, got a rocket up his ass because he's a purple player. And I didn't want none of that in this community, you know. And so what I did is I set about it of absolutely having zero tolerance on people disrespecting people, always promoting the caring community style people to commanders. You know, what's the most, you know, you're a commander in my community. You know, the quality of a commander is someone that will be there and engaging with the clan, not someone that's just going to sit in an office 24/7, you know. And the other thing that I did is I'm big into permaculture and sustainability. So, like, earth care, people care, and fair share is something that I look at all the time, and no matter what I do. So, we're a big community. Earth care is a paperless office. People care is the time we invest in the people, training people, and helping people with physical and mental disability. People that, you know, there's a lot of people that's, you know, in our community that have, you know, bipolar, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, all that sort of things. And this is genuinely a place they can come and seek refuge and support. It's not like a big like Salvation Army place. It's just like, you'd be surprised what you tell people that are your mates online because you're not face to face, and therefore it provides that service sort of organically, you know. So there's that there, and the fair share is like us having that knowledge share. You know, what I love about this community is you'll get a red player that needs help, and you'll get a yellow player come and help him, or a green player, or, you know, come and help him. And then that same green player will be getting help of a blue player or a purple player. In a lot of the clans I've been in before, I'm not naming no names. You know, you get the bad players, they're coming. So, do you mind if I join me, lads? Oh, sorry, no, I'm off in a minute. You know, they wouldn't be. They'd still be there 3 hours later. You know, because they were a bad player, they wouldn't be given the time of day. In this community, the fair share aspects, the fact that, yeah, you get the bad players, the real bad players playing with the mediocre and the good players, and then you'll get the other ones, and then the good players will play together. So you get people playing of all different play levels. You know, it's not unusual to see purple and blue players playing with the red players in this community. In actual fact, it happens all the time. It's the norm, you know. So that's them three things: earth care, people care, fair share. Very important for me in the community.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with you there. In terms of, they're not just people sat. From my point of view, I don't see them as people sat at the other end of a computer talking to each other and playing a game. You're more like colleagues now, and you work together regardless of what. And that's one thing I liked about when I joined the community, when I came here back in the early part of the year, is stats. People whinge and moan a bucketful about stats, and they mean nothing. If you playing as a community and playing as colleagues and you're working together, stats mean nothing, because if you play together, you turn a game. Obviously, there are times when you can't do that, but there are a lot of the times you can turn a game around, and you can at least carry the game on a lot longer when potentially teams have been wiped out. And you can improve yourself as players regardless of what your ability in stat, because you can all work together. So I think that's got to be commendable in itself.
Hey man, you've only got to look at the history here. When I started this, you know, I had a team of red and orange players. And I used to go out in tier 6 strongholds and, you know, get 80, 85, 90% win rates over a night with red and orange players. And the reason I was able to do that was because I my background in strategy games with Blitzkrieg and Company of Heroes was a good thing for me, but also that when you train them players and they don't have that ego and they don't have that personal need to get a good score, they do precisely what you say when you say. You drill in focus fire, you drill in walls of fire, you drill in movement across open ground, you drill in all them drills, and then when they come to it, they just carry it out peacefully and beautifully, mate. Once you've put an X amount of hours into them people, okay, they just perform. And then that's been elaborated on. You guys, that you've took over Havoc X, you've got it, you take land on a regular basis on the Clan Wars things. Havoc 3, same thing. Sometimes Havoc 3 started off with a load of red, orange, yellow players, had 6 provinces at one time. And now Havoc 3 have a 60% win rate in tier 8 strongholds. So how many, anyone reading this, anyone listening to this, if it's an audio thing that's been put out, right, or a podcast or something, how many of you can obviously sit there and say, our clan, gets a 60% win rate in tier 8 strongholds? Because it's not many.
Very often.
And that is all
because all the top clans will go in at tier 8 just for practice, so that breeds success, and then you've got to think, well, we are doing something right as a community if we can see
team play and fun. That's the way to do it.
That's the key. Is the fun side, because at the end of the day, it's a game, and that's what you want to do, is have fun in it.
Absolutely, mate, for sure.
So you currently stream World of Tanks on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and obviously you're in with the Armoured Warfare on a Friday. So what got you into the live streaming side of it?
So I've been doing my YouTube for about 4 or 5 months. And some of the guys from the community had said, are you going to start live streaming? So I was having a little look at it. I always used to watch Circumflex's live stream, and I used to catch Quickie Baby's live stream sometimes as well. And so I knew about it. And I thought, yeah, maybe it would just help out, bring some more people to the community, help my YouTube grow a bit. Because my live streams, surprisingly, my live stream is not actually about the uni side of things. It's just about the fun aspect of the community. And, later on now, I've done my rebranding with the Scholar and the Jester. That's what it's about. There's 2 sides to this Havoc community. There's one, the Scholar, which is teaching people and learning. And then the other one, which is the Jester, which is all about having fun. And that's what I think my stream, with my stream, you get to see me, bare bones, just playing and having fun with mates. And I think that's why I got into it. So we could just be around. The community grew to a point where I couldn't interact with everyone. And I couldn't talk to everyone. So I figured if I'm going to be playing World of Tanks and playing in a platoon, at least these guys can watch, be chatting to me, interacting with me and talking to me. And it's just grown from there. And I think we're like 5 followers away from 9k followers now. In actual fact, let's just double check, just see what it is. Because I think I was 5 away last night.
And that in itself is an achievement, I think.
Yeah. 5 away from 9k followers. So it's going well.
Awesome. So in talking of achievements then, we've obviously spoken about a lot of things, where you've come from, what uni's come about the community itself, about World of Tanks University. But what would you say specifically, not just one, but your finest achievements to date so far?
In the game, so with regards to gaming, I think my finest achievements are starting with YouTube, building a popular and educational YouTube channel. I think the achievement in my YouTube channel is it's really hard to strike the balance between entertainment and tutorials. The reality is tutorials help people, and the funny videos entertain people. And you've only got to look at the viewership difference on my videos between the tutorials and the entertaining videos. Like the ones I do that are funny videos, I think it's got almost 200,000 views now. And the most amount of one of my tutorials has got is like 40,000, but on average over all of them, maybe 15,000, and some only 2, 3, 4,000. So the achievement is to try and find the balance in between entertainment and education, using that casual technique and way that we discussed earlier. The Twitch I see as a really good achievement. It's very difficult to keep a live stream going, keeping a regular schedule, building up subscribers, followers, and all that lot. So my Twitch is a definite achievement. I'm really, really chuffed with that. But by far, my finest achievement is this community. And the reason for that is because I feel that I've built something that if something tragic was to happen to me, there's people in place that have got all the passwords that could carry this on without me. And I'd like to think that the good work that I've set up and with the team that I've built here, and it is a team, this is no longer just me doing this, and it hasn't been for a long time. With the team that I've got built here could carry on and, just carry on what we're doing and doing this great work. Because it really is a service, not only we're doing to the World of Tanks community, gaming as a whole, and to people's personal lives. And I know that because I've been sat in this TeamSpeak we're talking on now and have people sobbing to me. And I'm not talking about a couple of people, I'm talking about lots of people. And as you said earlier, Salty, this is not just like a TeamSpeak where, like maybe like QBs or Circons where they might do a surprise appearance every now and then. I mean, if I'm online gaming, I'm in here. If I'm making videos, I'm in here. I'm jumping through, chatting to people. And yeah, people might join the community and say, well, I ain't talked to me. But, there's 1,000 of them. So I talk to a lot, and that for me is my finest achievement. The thoughts that I'm actually making the difference with this thing that I built to people's lives, that for me is a great thing. And one final thing, of course, is having the old magazine article in the PC Gamer magazine, the Advanced Strategy Guide on the Games Master Special Tank Edition. That's a great achievement too.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. And I think that can only be accredited to the amount of work that you've put in from start to finish. But I won't say finish because obviously there's more sorts of things into the future. So that finally leads me on to saying, what have you got planned for the future within the game, within yourself even, and where you see things going?
So, plans for the future. I've got a lot of plans. And it's all about execution, isn't it? So, my plans for the future with regards to World of Tanks would be the best way to start. My plans for What Uni is to expand training for all programs so they cover most of the main languages on the planet. Okay, so starting next, Polish, German, French, Russian, and then as a need requires. So basically, there'll be training for all programs. We're not going to hold language-specific clans because it'll just get too big. You just can't be done like that. But we can certainly accommodate training for people of different languages. So we take that on board. I've also got the World of Tanks University website probably at about 75% completion now. And that is going to be a brilliant resource where I'm going to be able to publicize written guides that are done by myself and others. I'm going to be able to promote YouTubers, not just myself, other people that put out great content. There's some awesome guides on the forum that I can add. I can use that as a knowledge base where people can get a one-stop shop for all the information you need to learn. You're not going to have to go from one place for this, one place for that. You can come there, get your guides written, video, audio. You can come there, you can look at what training's available in different languages. Click a link, go to the training. There will be forums, you can interact, go on the forums, talk to people. There'll be access to mentors who are people that do not lead training sessions. Where if you just want to come in and platoon with a good player because you're not in a clan, or maybe all the people in your clan, are not necessarily great and you need a little bit of hand holding, you're going to be able to have access to mentors where you can just turn up in our TeamSpeak looking for mentor. Someone will grab you, drag you down. You can spend a few hours with them getting some really great tips. And that's what I want to do. I just want an overall broad landscape plan for What Uni where basically no matter, pretty much no matter what language you are, what time zone you're in, if you need some help, someone will be here to help you.
Which I think is going to be absolutely awesome. So for me, what I can see is this community is just going to grow and grow and grow and continue to get bigger. And from that, you can see where the likes of Wargaming are going to see, well, actually, this is where you want to come to learn. And that's going to get promoted. And I can only see that happening. It's going to be such a positive thing because obviously the game is getting big in itself and continues to grow. And with the tools such as World of Tanks University, it's going to be, they're going to start, you're going to find that you're going to start to get referrals from the actual Wargaming site itself as well, I can see.
Well, yeah, I mean, I should hope so. I've actually been approached by games offering to pay me to do this for them. for their games, but the genre of the game has been completely different to what we do. And no doubt, that is doable. I could go and set that up because I've got the experience for doing this. But the reality is, this is what we do. We've got other games that are going on, and we're trialing, other stuff as well, and we've got other stuff going on. But this is the main thing we do. Havoc X Gaming is a multi-game community, but it's the home of World of Tanks University, and 99% of our members are just die-hard World of Tanks players, and that's what we want to do. I want to just basically, have a link in with Wargaming if I can, contribute to stuff, and that they help out there. But they we get recognised for what we are, which is basically a great bunch of guys that will help anyone that needs a bit of help. And what we are is we're a huge community that has a very, very small community feel. Because there's such a huge amount of freedom in our community. You might be in what uni or what uni 2 or one of the Havoc clans. No matter what clan you're in, you can literally go into anyone's lobby, hang out with anyone, and open a game room, play with anyone from any clan. So there's a huge amount of freedom you have in this community, where there's no mandatory requirements unless you're in a specific clan wars dedicated clan, and that's brilliant. I mean, because what happens is you're in a clan and you'll get guilted into doing things like training or team games. You don't want to, you just want to grind, yeah? You just want to do platoons and randoms. And I used to hate that. And with the reality is now is we have so many members that we literally do not need to require anyone at all to have a mandatory requirement regarding team games or training. There are always enough members to get a stronghold together. There are always enough members to get a training team together. There are always community mentors bouncing about that will help and platoon with you. And I think that what we've achieved so far, I'm not even sure if it's been done before, or not to the scale that we do it. I don't believe there's a place that does it like that, especially maintaining the atmosphere we've got. I mean, there are no trolls. The trolls in this community get kicked out pretty soon. They hide themselves pretty well and keep quiet, and eventually it comes out that they're trollish and we kick them. And that's the feeling I get. As you know, Salty, sometimes I'll come on and I'll put a different tag on, and I'll go through TeamSpeak just jumping in with different clan tags under different names, just listening in. And
I've seen that firsthand.
And very rare. And if I do come across someone like that, 99% of the time, the command structure have already got it in hand, and they're either monitoring it or going through the process of, trying to rectify that behavior and fix it. And of course, if we can't handhold and support that person to change his negative ways, they have to go. But, one of the things I'm proud of most, not only for the service we do in this community, is the atmosphere that we've built here. Because we've got an awful lot of, and don't get me wrong, there's loads of young people here, but there's a huge amount of 55 to 85-year-olds in this community. And if you've got mature people like that hanging out, it means to say the atmosphere is good. Because they wouldn't waste their time in a crappy clan where they get spoken to disrespectfully,
Absolutely, I totally agree. Well, Havoc, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off there because it's been a fantastic interview, and I really want to thank you for your time, and hopefully the people in the gaming world will enjoy what we've talked about, the questions and the answers we've answered. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, mate. Take it easy.